morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to continue what Mr. Javans discussed in SIP. So, I'm going to tackle the key features of SIP. First, the evidence base. Therefore, all activities that you will be doing relative to the conduct of SIP should have corresponding MO-based documentation and relevance reports. Second, the results base. Because a decisions and action should really based on pertinent or relevant data, and the SIP is also learner-centered because we all know that the focus of all activities that we are doing is focused on the learners, on their improvement and on developing their knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And also, the SIP is addresses key results area on access quality and governance. We already know that parents' responsibility is to give children an education that is as to access and to have a higher quality education so that the children will be good in terms of reading in mathematics, sciences, and all other disciplines, of course, the governance. And school will be lead to the goods and transparency, also have accountability, and of course, competence of our school leaders. And of course, SIP is 3-year cycle with the school report card or the SRC at the end of each 1-year cycle. And this time, schools are preparing the SIP and relative to preparation. Reference for improvement is the SRC of the previous year, and SIP is also collaborative with stakeholders. Let us start with the preparatory phase of the SIP. The preparatory phase starts with data gathering. As I have said, the SIP feature show the relevant to the data we should gather. And of course, the decision we make should be based on data. First of all, we should know the school or the community where it belongs and learn about the situation of all the stakeholders. And we know that in planning, we should conduct the environmental scanning for the stakeholders, know about what they feel, or what are the challenges and what are the problems they encountered. For the preparatory phase, we will be using the tools for data gathering. First, the Annex 1A or the School Community Data Template. Second, the Annex 2A or the Child-Friendly School Survey. The third one is the Annex 2B or the Child Protection Policy Implementation Checklist. And the fourth one is Annex 2C or the Student-Led School Watching and Hazard Mapping. And lastly, the School Report Card. So the school should at least this time conducted community mapping and hazard mapping and the implementation of a child protection policy as well as child-friendly school survey. And you can refer to the DepEd order, which of course DepEd order number 44 series of 2015 for the annexes, and you will be using these annexes. You can ask the assistance of your school heads and all other persons involved in conducting in data gathering. So it is also strategic to ask for assistance the person is specifically involved. After the data gathering, form the school community planning team with the following members. First, the school head as a team leader. Second, the student representative. Usually, there are SSG president for high school and student leader counterpart for the elementary. The third one is the teacher representative. There are usually the teacher president of the school. The fourth one is the parent representative. It is usually the PTA president, the barangay, or the LGU representative. Sometimes they are represented by the barangay captain or counselor in charge of education in development. Fifth one is the barangay or LGU representative, specifically the member of Barangay Disaster Risk Reduction Management Committee or the BDRRMC. The sixth one is member of School Child Protection Committee. The coordinator for this is also the guidance counselor or the guidance teacher, but aside from this, I have mentioned you can have an additional member such as experts on other disciplines or representative or other religious sector, IP groups, specifically those schools from multicultural settings. So if there are IP groups in your community, this can be represented by their IP leaders. And then after organizing the SPT, conduct the orientation, vision, sharing, and scheduling, and then discuss the following agenda. First, what is SPIP, its legal basis, features, and etc. so that they will be guided on what are you talking about or they will know what is SIP exactly. Second, the duties and responsibilities of SIP. The third one is the vision, mission, core values, and division goals. The fourth one, of course, the needs of the school. The fifth one is the school gaps from the previous year. The sixth one is ways on how the stakeholders and partners can help the school. We should be strategic on asking help from our partners or stakeholders. The last one is the SPT timetable, so that there will be timeline, target, act, or SIP preparation. Next, I will share the Brigada Skwela with stakeholders. One fundamental element of Filipino culture, bayanihan, is where the Brigada Skwela originated. The Filipino ethos of supporting one another as a community to complete a work without expecting or asking anything in return is known as bayanihan or concerted solidarity. Bayanihan has roots in the national heritage, particularly in rural areas where a family might choose to relocate. The bahay kubo or nipahan, a traditional Filipino home, may be transported utilizing wooden poles that are carried and moved collectively from the old location to the new one. The home needs to be lifted and carried by strong men. There will be a gathering or event following the relocation. Brigada Skwela had its roots in Republic Act 8525, which was enacted during the time of President Ramos. The Adopt a School program aimed to encourage volunteerism and public-private partnership in public education. RA 8525 provided tax incentives for private intervention in schools. Brigada Skwela or School Brigade, also known as the National Schools Maintenance Week, is a nationwide voluntary effort that was first established in 2003, a program of DepEd which aims to address resource gaps faced by the department through strengthening partnerships with the local communities. The program mobilizes and brings together thousands of parents, alumni, civic groups, local businesses, non-government organizations, teachers, students, and individuals who volunteer their time and skills to do classroom repairs, maintenance work, and cleanup of public elementary and secondary schools. Given the positive results of a program in 2008, it has become a permanent school activity in the school calendar, where all schools nationwide mandated to implement the program weeks before the school opening. In the past, the DepEd struggles in what seems like the lack of priority for education in the country, as reflected in the deficiency of resources for public schools, the shortage of classrooms, overcrowded classes, and school being not ready for the upcoming school year. In the school opening, pupils and teachers have to put up with an unclean classroom, blackboards that are already too rough to write on, chairs with broken armrests, and the other stuff that are need to repair, maintenance, and cleaning. This affects the first day of classes as the teachers and pupils are obliged to do all the tasks instead of focusing on the first day of their lesson in class. To alleviate these issues, DepEd started a campaign through the Adapt a School program or the ASP in 1998. This allows partnerships with other stakeholders who are willing to share resources to improve the country's public school education. In a few years, the spirit of volunteerism reached an unexpected peak, which led the program to the communities through Brigada Skwela. The practice of this program is essential to heads the school heads, teachers, and learners, or to the school community, as it saves and provides resources on the path of the school. The unrelenting support and the effort of various stakeholders resulted into an improved school's facilities in preparation for the opening of classes and towards a better learning environment. Teachers can now start their classroom instruction on the first day of classes, and pupils can now focus on their lessons without the distractions, prioritizing the cleaning of their classroom prior to the school opening. And we know what we are, but we know what we may be. This idea is from William Shakespeare. So for me, we have no idea what lies ahead, how long schools remain closed. However, we can make an effort to make each day positive, creative, exciting, and satisfying. In this quote, William Shakespeare reminds us that our potential is limitless. And that would be all for my report. Thank you and God bless.